enough structures before the point at which Atakan and Baron are spawning, the map becomes so small for OMG that they can't step up to go and try to involve themselves in those fights.
I also want to check back into a conversation about the jungle that we've been returning to. Oh, speaking of jungle, they catch out Hung. He's going to have to get out of that one. And I was just about to say that the pacing of the Lilia is still keeping up and having about a half-level advantage over Hung for Junhao.
Yeah, I mean, the way that this one has been played out so far is exactly how you want Lilia to be played, right? You don't really want to be getting involved in too many big fights, too many big skirmishes. You're all about farming, keeping yourself ahead, and so far has done a very good job of that. Hung actually doesn't go towards that Drake, instead did want to start up onto the Herald, but immediately gets bullied off, and it doesn't feel like there's any real response from OMG. They're kind of just letting this happen.
And maybe, oh, Saber waiting in the wings. Realize there's two people walking this way, not necessarily going to take that fight there, but they are repositioning around this dragon side of the map. OMG said we might not get the Rift Herald, but we want to at least get something and go ahead and start it up.
TP.
Okay, we'll see if they actually get a little bit of a flank going here. If they want to take the fight, Moham does end up using his Grand Interest to get away from the fight there. And the dragon will reset. So, Ultra Prime, they get their cake and eat it too.
Yeah, this is a problem for OMG, and this is something that I feel like is a part of why this team has looked so fun individually, but the team play just isn't quite there. There's a lot of rookies. I wonder if it will be better for them next split, but at least so far in this split, it's felt really difficult for OMG to use any individual advantages they may or may not get for themselves and actually turn it into objectives, actually turn it into picking up everything else. I mean, the composition is difficult to play into, right? You've got a lot of poke that you can get layered down, and then if you get jumped like this...
Speaking of, he just used the Grand Entrance, so he has to flash away. Moham is just not having a good time.
Every single time. You just get jumped. Rosie Love, I was very excited to watch this player coming into this series, and so far have not been disappointed. It's been a real catalyst for the big plays that have happened for Ultra Prime so far in this series. Rift Herald now going to come down mid, not going to be ridden, still going to be able to pick up that tower, and that's another tower gone, and also there's a push going on top lane from Saber. It is at least going to be responded to, but you can tell already, just 18 minutes into this game, OMG are getting dragged around the map, trying to respond to the constant push onto these towers, stem the bleeding. It's not really working so far.
And you were saying earlier about maybe some of the non-proactive plays that OMG are working with right now. Do we feel like they're maybe planning on trying to wait this one out a little bit, wait till those kind of 3 item spikes come through for Starry, where we have some of that damage potential to back it up?
I feel like that may well be the decision that OMG have gone towards. You know, things have gone a bit wrong early game, so let's wait until we've got our item breakpoints. Unfortunately, Ultra Prime are both ahead, so hitting their item breakpoints first, and pretty much spike at the same time. This is a lot of the same sort of champions who like that 2 to 3 item point as well. And so just trying to sit out, just trying to wait for this game to come to you isn't necessarily going to be the best system. I don't know it's going to work out for OMG, but they've committed on this path right now, and I don't really know how they can change it at this point. Volibear, very effective at ganking, but we're beyond that point. Nobody's in their individual lanes right now. You are all over the map, and that means the Volibear is just about being able to be annoying in these team fights, get onto the backline, you know, sky splitter your way down.
Yeah. Try to find those engages.
Yeah, hopefully you've got to. Somebody's got to. Moham and Heng are the engage here.
Little shout out to Junhao. Throwing up the BLG merchandise there with his emote, giving him a little bit of a shout back to where he came from, at least up into the promotion this year on the Ultra Prime. It's the last series for both these two teams, so you know they got to leave everything out there. And honestly, that's why I'm so proud about this series, and that's why I've loved watching this, is because these teams are really just leaving it all out here.
They really are. It's the best show of, hey, never give up. We're going to put everything on the table. Super young players as well, so they want as much big level stage experience as possible. It always is a shame when you get onto the last week, and unfortunately a lot of the matchups are 0-2, but still, this one has been incredibly exciting. We've also got Atakan spawned up at this point. Once again, Ruinous, we really haven't had particularly bloody games so far. And both of these teams have had slight struggles with being able to pick up Atakan for themselves efficiently without losing a couple of members. And I could see this team fight ending bloody as well.
LPL team so terrified of the Atakan. Rosie Love, you know they're there. Oh God, run away! he did survive. Hey, and that's all that matters because now they might get the Lilting Lullaby. Not gonna pull it. We're threatening it. Now they're just moving Vision out around this dragon pit. Dragon spawning in less than a minute.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Lilting Lullaby didn't go down. I think it would have been a pretty good opportunity. You had both Starry and Moham split out from the other side. Yeah, I bet if you could hear the comms, they are not happy about that situation. Not quite sure why Ultra Prime didn't pull the trigger. I think they didn't expect to be able to fully 100% get the kill. Obviously, Flash and Cleanse are both up and available for Starry, so it would have been a tricky kill to actually be able to get. And maybe you're looking for a better Swell Seed to land so you can hit onto more members with that Lilting Lullaby. Still, it is going to be a push down in the bottom lane. Mid lane priority as well has been established for Ultra Prime. So they're in a very good spot in this game to be able to set themselves up right here for this Drake, for this Atakan. Reset coming through from Linfang, so he will be able to join this fight.
Should have all tools available. Ultra Prime doing a really good job of clearing out some of that vision that was lagging behind a little bit. They're going to start up the dragon here, realizing that Linfang does have TP. They will just be waiting for that trigger pull as Rosie Love trying to pull his own trigger. The dragon about a quarter down now, getting closer and closer to half health. Starry looking to step up. Linfang still has a massive flank here as Ultra Prime aren't really moving. That's the dragon down to Ultra Prime. The big quickness on top of the equalizer. Blade Caller right back though as Junhao makes it out of wave. Linfang with that flank. Starry finding that huge angle with the killer instinct. Now Saber, it's his time to shine.
Saber.
He's trying to go reckless, but he can't do it. He just gets the one. And OMG, they're making it look like Game 4 all over again.
Yeah, Ultra Prime, they're able to pick themselves up that Drake, but they're going to lose the Atakan buff on top of all of the deaths that end up going down. The key point right there, Harry, brilliant on the equalizer, lands it across 4 or 5 members in that fight, and it means that everybody from Ultra Prime just has to take the Drake and scatter. You can see it right here. Equalizer lands down, hits onto Waco specifically, and then Moham pulls the trigger, knows that he has to go in. Then the rest of this fight, it's just all in favor of OMG. The only moment in which you feel like maybe Ultra Prime get something done is the fact that Saber does do a lot of damage, and with that Unending Rage is at least able to get 1 kill back, but it's slim pickings for the actual buffs that they end up getting from this one. Losing Atakan here is not a good thing.
Sheesh. Look at that red carpet damage. Damn. Harry getting a really nice combo there with Moham with the quickness right on top of it all, just making him sit on the coals. And that's some of that team fight aspect that maybe OMG have been waiting for. We were talking about them playing a little bit more, you know, reclusive in nature, and being able to pull that out in that fight is huge because now it feels like momentum is shifting a bit on the map.
Yeah, and this is the name of this series, right? Back and forth, shifting momentum. Doesn't really matter who gets the early leads so far in this series. These teams are volatile enough that you can have things change. Saber gonna get dove right here. Always a bit of a risk to try to dive onto a Tryndamere. Just more backing him off, I think, to be able to take this turret. And this is what you really need to do as OMG. They lost a ton of turrets early on. They didn't have the map pressure. Well,
okay.
It's Atakan. You still get 200 gold, so it's at least... It's not that bad. Still, you don't really want to get caught that far out of position, and I think that's the way the Ultra Prime need to continue to try to play this game. Find as many Rosie Love hooks as possible. I assume that's how this one started.
Yeah.
Yep, yoink.
Oh, yeah.
Once you get yoinked there, there's very little you can do. Even the very mobile champion of a Rakan, if you're able to get onto one of the less mobile champions as well and blow them up, the 4v5 obviously much easier to play out.
Dude, how cool is it to see, though, that Starry is just stepping up for OMG, right? Like, being able to see this guy just step up 2 games in a row like this has been so impressive. And OMG going to be happy with some of their dealings here as they go under turret. Big Lilting Lullaby. That's on to 3 members. Blade Caller right back. Junhao is trying to get damage down, and now you got a big follow-through as huge damage on the Moham. More bodies are falling. Atakan might be at your side, but Ultra Prime are looking at Baron.
Yeah, And this is not worth it. I've seen so many teams recently do this. Hey, we've got the Atakan buff. We might as well just go dive under tower, get the resets off. It's a quick recall. No, you're getting tons of gold over. They are going to make it back in time for this Baron, although it is burning through fast.
I don't know. I think Ultra Prime are really throwing it here if they go for it. They're just going to go for the split. They're going to go for the toss. They're going to go for the flip. And it's taken! Junhao takes those heads every day. And so Saber in a lot of trouble here. There's a big blade caller back. Flame Spitters doing some work. Harry is cleaning up the back line. Xiong trying to finish off the rest of OMG, but OMG are strong together with a double kill from Harry. Xiong going down. One more flip, and it's Starry cleaning him up.
What am I watching?
LPL, baby!
This is peak LPL gaming right here. Right off the back of OMG deciding to run it through mid and give up all of those Atakan buffs and the gold that comes with it. Ultra Prime, rather than taking that advantage that they've just been handed on a nice little silver platter, they decide to go and hand it right on back. We're playing hot potato with the win right here.
Literally.
And you at least get the smite onto the Baron, but at the point at which you get back to this fight as OMG, the Baron's done about half of the HP to the Ultra Prime members, and the rest of the team fight is made so much easier. Jiang tries to get into the backline, actually manages to stun up a good couple of members, and if you're in this situation on equal health, maybe this is fine, but you're not. You've also just managed to get back to base as OMG, so you've bought extra items. You're in such a stronger position. And Ultra Prime, they don't have the kind of composition that can just insta-melt Baron. It's fast. It was a fast Baron take, not fast enough.
And with that in mind, there's yet another objective on the Rift, and it's going to be taken by OMG, so that's going to be sole point for them. They'll finally get an Ocean Dragon to add to their tally, as Ultra Prime are actually looking for a play topside and a tier 2 turret up there with Saber. They should be able to take that one pretty simply, and OMG will take that Dragon.
Yeah, the Baron, 6 grubs, and the Tryndamere does result in very fast tower takes. Drake going over. And this game should chill out for a couple of minutes. Well, knowing these teams, maybe it won't, but it certainly should chill out for a couple of minutes. We've got less than a minute left on the Baron buff. Ultra Prime haven't really been able to use it for that much. Sure, you get the top lane tower, but that was really the only tower they've actually been able to threaten, and I think will be able to threaten before this buff runs out. As potentially it is good that you are able to take it away from your opponents. And so, taking stock of the way that the game looks right now, 2 items completed on everybody, 3 items completed on pretty much everybody right now for Ultra Prime. They're in an incredibly strong position, but at the same time, Starry is also having a great game, as is Harry, both of those champions dealing mad damage at this point. And it just depends on how you can weave your way through a team fight, because the straight up front to back team fight should be in the favor of Ultra Prime. The only spanner in that work is the equalizer.
I'm wondering now, though, if we... At this point, there's 2 very different ways that these compositions approach team fights, right? Like, OMG are fully fine taking front to backs, taking a little bit split fights. Ultra Prime, I feel like, though, on their side, have a little bit more particular ways they want to take these fights, don't you think?
If you can just find yourself an immediate pick with Rosie Love, then obviously that makes these team fights so much easier. And you're also kind of waiting on a few of these key abilities landing first to make these team fights happen, right? So hit a Swell Seed into a Lilting Lullaby, then you can go in. It's a lot harder to just straight up run at your opponents because they do so much damage. And sure, you've got a couple of invulnerabilities, but you will die pretty quickly, and having to blow those at the wrong time will pretty much immediately result in your death. So yeah, it's a little bit trickier to play this one out.
A little hard.
A little bit hard. That being said, though, right, you're still in a great spot. These teams are so even. I think this is the most even we've been at 30 minutes in this series. 2 Drakes to 3, basically dead even in terms of gold. There's just a couple more towers that have been taken over, but that's it. It's so close.
Yeah, a lot of vision up towards this top side of the map. Junhao is actually backing up Saber down here just in case. I mean, you can't really escape the Lilting Lullaby, so they might just be trying to burn down some of this side lane gold here, as it's OMG looking to make a play up towards top side of the map. They're just going to go on Harry, even if the Swirl Seed didn't hit. Realize after the TP they need to get out of there. That will be Linfeng joining the defense on bot side.
Still, you managed to get both the golden and the TP out. Those are both big key things that you're going to be backtracking, not really happy about losing for OMG before a next potential fight. Still 2 minutes until we are going to actually get this next fight. And look at that. Both Lingfeng and Harry both just grab themselves the Zhonyas. So they know that they are going to have to pop that pretty much on top of a Lilting Lullaby. That's when you're expecting them to have to use that. Otherwise, you can just get bopped down so very quickly. We have to track when they have that up and when they don't, because again, key abilities, the Mikhails too on Moham. You can tell just how many stuns and things everybody's worried about.
I mean, this next fight at the Baron is going to be a backbreaker for either side. Really want to see if Saber can kind of pull the attention across the map, or he's just going to come to the fight with the Hull Breaker completed there. It really feels like OMG have a little bit of the driver's seat here in these kind of objective-like situations.
Yeah, they certainly do, but they have to be careful to not lose too much on the backside if Saber does decide to just go and push down one of these side lanes. So far, he seems very happy to just get involved with the team fights, though. Team fight trend him in, not necessarily something you would always expect.
Right?
But yeah, for the minute, it's not exactly been working for them perfectly. At the same time, maybe pushing onto these side lanes is a little bit tricky. Doesn't have the teleport. Starry.
Oh, Starry.
Ooh, yeah, you don't want to step up right there.
I mean, Moham just kind of saved his life right there, taking a little bit of the damage. As
Equalizer
going to come down, they want to pull the trigger on the fight. Rosie Love trying to stop them from moving in. Look at Starry's angle. Starry looking good, but Lilting Lullaby onto 2. Linfeng distracting as they try to go for the backline. Hung is tanking like a storm. Saber trying to finish him off. He has cut the bear down to size, but look at OMG. They have cut Ultra Prime down to size. Starry flashing forward. Starry going insane and more. It's a triple kill, but it doesn't matter. Ultra Prime, they have been dusted. OMG continuously find fights off their phenom in Starry.
Starry lives for so long in that fight, despite the fact that he is in and amongst so many members of Ultra Prime. And you could see in that fight, Junho was doing the absolute most as well on that Lily. I wonder if we'll get to see a look at the damage done in that one. All kicked off by that initial equalizer. Doesn't really stun onto anybody. You don't really get the combo off between Moham and the equalizer. Now this, I think, is a potential mistake. Rosilove grabs the volley bear into the backline, and Heng doesn't die. Hung is more than happy to just sit there for a while and takes enough time up, takes Saber
Starry's
out of
so
the fight.
Chad.
Yeah, and Starry, he's just chilling. He doesn't get more than enough damage on this champion. Would live if there isn't ridiculous burn on Lilia. And Junhao goes down at the very end as well. It doesn't really turn into too much. Oh, it did. It turned into the Drake at the end, I think, for OMG.
It did,
so they were able to pick themselves up that soul as well. Now, Baron, we're going to get to see this team fight again. Run it back again.
An Ocean Soul now, though. I mean, that's so big for OMG's side. And man, I gotta say, Starry is the ultimate definition of the grass is greener where you water it. This guy has been building up through the OMG system, and it's so much of a payoff to see him dragging them here with these kills, with these plays in the last 2 games. Now he's got to try to finish it off here as Baron already getting low. Equalizer going to be popped. Usually that's the sign that OMG want to go forward. Looks like Equalizer will be waited out by Ultra Prime. They have an angle. Quickness into the grand entrance, into the combo as they have everybody grouped up. Ultra Prime is actually doing a really good job of fighting front to back. Look at Waco. He's got a lot of distance, and the Blade Caller going to be coming through as well. Damage down. Starry is not going to be able to save them this time. Ultra Prime, we said this game is back and forth and back and forth, and we're rubber banded yet again.
Oh, that was the fight that you really needed to find right there as Ultra Prime. They're going to carry on, try to get the pick onto Harry. Really don't think it's likely he's going to be able to survive. Does a ton of damage, to be fair, but even with the golden, falls in the end. Ace right there, picked up for Ultra Prime. Now, I don't think they can... Ooh, can they end?
Big
30 seconds, 6 grubs.
6 grubs.
They might be able to.
This is where past Ultra Prime is saying, yeah, I got you, baby. Let's go. They are murdering these turrets. They are murdering these structures. Moham, the only one coming up. They should be able to defend this one. Ultra Prime, maybe they're feeling dancy. Maybe they're feeling antsy. Maybe they're feeling like they want to get in there as Moham trying to block them up, but they're just going for the turrets. They have one mind together, and it's to try to end this, but Starry comes in and just melts them down to size. No. Give them a triple kill.
Oh, such a mistake right there. I don't know how much Ultra Prime are going to lose for it, but now they've got 50-second death timers. Now the push and the priority is on OMG. Linfeng trying to push to the bottom lane isn't quite going to be able to, and this play would be even better in past seasons, but Nexus turrets respawn now. You've only got those Nexus turrets down for a little while, 3 minutes. It's really not as impactful as it used to be in the past 30 seconds.
Nexus to Nexus?
There's no way.
Oh
if OMG push this through and try to end, they might be making the same mistake.
Let's do it. Do it. If you're going to go down, you go down swinging, just like, unfortunately, the Wave did there too. Saber, and try to get a little bit of distance, but unfortunately dies. That's rough, though, because that's really staggered, and Saber is a massive part of your team, just trying to save some time with getting that wave, as now OMG have their eyes set on just what Ultra Prime was doing a few moments ago under turret. But guess what? They turned the towers off because Hung is a monster. The monster has come to town. OMG, that's a big blade caller, but weight goes down. The turret's still going. They're changed up, and they are killing them. But Starry have help there. The Ocean Soul is so massive right now. They're going to be healing so much, and all that's left for Ultra Prime is one last defense. OMG, are they going to feel just as amped as they were just in game number 4? They're trying to go for the fight. Lilting Lullaby back from Linfeng. Anything you can do, I can do better, OMG says, as they look to take the final neck and the final head of Ultra Prime. What a finish to this group, and what a finish for OMG. They will finally win their first series.
Never has a team name felt more appropriate
Cinema.
Than Oh my god. Game 5, best of 5, Nexus to Nexus. LPL, baby. This is what I was promised when I got told that the LPL was a thing. I was told that this region fights, and they fight, and they just keep on fighting, and this one was fights from the very beginning to the very end. OMG coming out on top. Well-deserved victory, but man, that feels rough for Ultra Prime.
It does, but honestly, as a final series, I think there's a lot to have been proud of from Ultra Prime. I think both these teams are down in the dumps when they're thinking about what happened in winter, what they want to try and improve on going to spring, but you know this series meant a lot to everybody involved. I know it means even more for OMG. Just the development that was on this stage tonight is so awesome to see. It's not names that are going to be bursting up to the top 4 in a league that is so filled with such great talent, but is the names that you're going to be seeing in the future years, the ones building their stories now. So it's awesome to see, especially Starry. 2 games in a row, the man was just king.
Oh, yeah. He was popping off right there. There were some Kai'Sa plays where I was like, there's no way that you managed to live that one. And he did. And he was just running through. I mean, gorgeous play from so many members. And like you said, so many young people. When I was looking through the ages of these rosters, under 20 years old for vast majority of these players, bright futures ahead of many of them. And it's so great to see them be able to actually pick up a win right here for, oh my god, they did so well for themselves. Game 1 was honestly the least competitive of all of the games. They kind of just dismantled in that first one. Everything else super back and forth.
And I know the Ultra Prime social media manager is going to be sad. I feel you. I'm so sorry. But also, like, honestly, there were some really good moments for Ultra Prime. Again, we go back and forth about it, just saying that, you know, both teams had some really interesting moments as well. But hey, somebody had to win. We all knew that was like the contractual obligation when we came into the night. And even if they will just be a battle for 3rd or 4th place, it was still a lot of fun. So who do you think was looking the best in this one? I don't know if maybe Starry gets a little bit of hangover benefit from last game.
But for me, oh my lord, I really don't know. That one felt absolutely ridiculous. For my money, I would give it to Starry. Like you said, maybe a little bit of hangover potentially would hurt it, but like that performance was incredible. There was just so many situations in which, to all rights, he should have died, and he just didn't.
The flash is forward, man.
Forward. No, never backwards. Backwards.
Never backwards.
Not for him. Forward all the time. Who would you give it to?
That's hard. I I feel like Linfeng,
It was a good performance.
he had some really good moments. It's so hard. It's so hard. I'm just happy that a lot, like, the things that had been going so wrong for OMG finally looked like some kind of semblance of maybe a patch or a bandage on that. And that's what, going into spring, hopefully a lot of these players are back. Hopefully the entire players are back for both rosters, so they can continue building on performances like this. Because I mean, if we're just talking about the format, it is literally being thrown into the fire. Like, you instantly are playing best of fives, you're instantly playing full fearless, and usually 2 people out of your group are pretty top dogs in the LPL. So being able to take away anything from this split is always important.
I mean, coming over from Europe to this is the most insane format I think I've ever seen, especially when you add Fearless on top of it, right? You get to play 3 series, they're all best of 5, have fun, good luck, and you can't pick the same champion twice. I mean, whoever thought this system up is nuts.
Between LTA North and, well, I guess LTA in general and LPL, man, these teams don't got a lot of time. You got to turn it around real quick.
And it's so different to what the LPL's been playing before, where they used to play a million games. You used to be playing games
single round robin out of 17 teams. You have to play everybody
constantly, and now hope you get drawn into a group with some teams that you can beat. I mean, hey, it's not impossible. Thunder Talk were able to do it. They've been able to pull them way out. Look at this gold graph. That was a roller coaster and a half. It's an even more insane one than previously. You are losing that game basically until you win that game. You are losing that game until your opponents decide to throw themselves down mid at your Nexus for towers that now respawn. I mean,
they didn't need to do it, man.
They had that game in the bag. Ultra Prime did. This is really where you do feel that these are young players who maybe don't have the experience to know, hey, this is probably a bad decision to make. Still, for the pure entertainment value, I'm very glad that they did. That's one of the craziest endings to a game I think I've ever seen.
It's just so funny how it all comes down to it. We get to look back through some of the clips and all the fun that was had. A lot of non-action in the mid lane that I thought maybe would get a little bit more action when we got the Tryndamere. The Tryndamere didn't really have, honestly, much of an effect, I feel like, in a lot of cases.
It munched towers early.
It did.
And then it team fought.
And then it picked Hullbreaker and team fought.
Yeah.
I know we're getting a little nitpicky, so we don't need to go down the rabbit hole of what Tryndamere needs to be building and whatnot. But hey, I'm still happy for the spice in a fearless draft.
Yeah, it was fun. For the pure, brain freeze it gave me as it was picked at the very beginning of the game, that was worthwhile. But, I mean, looking back at these moments, oh my lord. I mean,
God,
in the previous one, Rafa was like, I feel like we've been here for 16 years. You know, so much happened in the previous game. Tenfold for this one as well. These team fights are so close. Like, the fact that these team fights are as close as they are, people are so low health the entire time, it felt like everything was on a knife's edge. Linfeng in that fight nearly dies, so nearly dies, and again on all of these, it never felt like we really got to see a massive lilting lullaby that landed onto as many members as we wanted to see from either, to be fair. You didn't get to see it from the Silas either,
Except at the end,
Yeah, that
won
final
the game
one,
with it.
all of a sudden, you managed to win out with it. But, I mean, it was a great performance. I think Linfeng did look great. I wouldn't be mad about the MVP going to him, or even to Harry as well. Going back to that MVP conversation, there were multiple times where, I mean, he's not the flashiest of Champions Rumble because a lot of the damage that he's doing feels a bit passive from that Flame Spitter and from the fact you've got the Equalizer on the floor. You can't really see that it's dealing damage. It's the same sort of thing that I feel when I watch a good Talia play. Sure, the Seismic Shove is cool, but for the most part, you don't really notice that she's dealing damage until you look at the damage graph at the end, and she did twice the amount of anybody else. Same sort of thing for Harry.
Do we have to watch this again?
No. They respawn. Those towers
and then we just cut to the other side.
Yeah. Well, there's no point in, I guess, watching the 20 seconds between those clips where they walk down mid lane and end the game. Well-deserved victory for OMG, but I would have said the exact same words if Ultra Prime had have actually managed to end it there.
Yeah, I think honestly, both teams would have been very happy with it. I'm still very happy with the series as a whole, being able to see as much as this, because I'm just not pointing any fingers, but maybe, you know, about 24 hours ago, there was another series that didn't deliver like this. So, you know, we actually get 5 games. We get both teams giving us a good performance.
This one is the only series I've cast on LPL English in the last 2 days. Nothing else happened.
Nothing else happened. Definitely
not. Starry gets it.
Starry gets MVP off of the Jinx performance, off of the Kai'Sa performance. This guy who has been with this organization for so long and has been trying to build his way up there since like 2021 or something along those lines. It's been absolutely crazy to watch his glow up in a team that's trying to rebuild, that's trying to refine themselves after so many years of that kind of dark horse nature.
Because of the way that ADC is, when a team is not great at the overall team play, they're often the one that suffers the most because they rely on the rest of the team to help them out, to be the front line for them, to be the healers, to give them the space to be able to do what the ADC can. This team has had struggles with that, but in this series today, really were able to give Starry that space that he needed, and boy did he pay them back tenfold. I mean, having, what was that, 13, 2, and 8 KDA, 84% kill participation, flashing forwards multiple times, you shouldn't die that little when playing Kai'Sa this aggressively. Look at that! That is disgusting. That should be inting, and yet it isn't. It's so much extra damage, extra kills that you're able to get for your team because you play this aggressively. Sure, you die in the end, but who cares? Starry was playing on a knife's edge, but with the backup of the team, with the help, honestly, in this play here, just about respawning, is able to win this game for the team. Very deserved to get those 2 MVPs for him.
And we were even talking the draft, like the Kai'Sa into this comp, it's going to be difficult. You got to find avenues. The scaling came online for them, and some of those early laid plans for OMG saying we want to wait this out, we want to wait to get some of these items, ended up paying out for them. So Starry, he'll scoop up some MVPs here tonight, and I love to see that, especially from our new and developing players. But hey, at least he got a lot of votes as well. Even Moham got votes?
Yeah.
We're not going to talk. It doesn't matter. He didn't win.
Fair
Didn't
enough.
matter. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything else.
No, I mean, I feel like the real takeaway I've gotten from today and from watching the sort of overall series, overall split that OMG have had is there's a reason that this team were able to take JDG all the way to 5 games. If it was a best of 1 or a best of 3, they would have beaten JDG. This team has something special. I really hope the full roster sticks around for next split because I think there's a lot to be able to build on here. And they've got some key young players, mid lane, bot lane, that are so exciting. And I really can't wait to see what they do next.
Yeah, I also got to give a special shout out to Junhao on the side of Ultra Prime. I think he actually had some really good moments tonight. Was playing pretty aggressively as a jungle, and I think the land of the LPL is really difficult for junglers, especially newer junglers. So nice to see some of that confidence still there, and hopefully Ultra Prime can build on that as well. But hey, I'm glad I got to come in and join for the 5th game. I got to experience the ultimate banger. And then we got to cast together for the first time, so it was a lot of fun. But that is going to be it for our night of the LPL English. That means that we obviously have to get to our wonderful moment where we have to shill for ourselves. Because thank you so very much to our Elite Coffee supporter, Aaron Soup. Your contribution helps level up our broadcast in so many different ways, but it also helps support everybody who dedicates all of their time to this broadcast. If you want to be like Aaron Soup, if you want to be cool like that, please subscribe to our coffee. We'll have the links in the chat. Please support any way you can. You'll get access to interviews. You get access to asking questions in those interviews and all the content that follows along with that. Thank you so much all for tuning in. Blockster, thank you so much for joining me on the day. Mickey behind the scenes of production, you're the GOAT, my friend. And we will see you tomorrow for more LPL English.